Welcome.
Fancy new technology given to me by the government.
My big brain makes me so attractive.
I want to read through Lord of the Rings. I haven't yet. I feel kind of ashamed.
Thanks for stopping by.
I just heard Caleb flailing around with his tongue.
Do this or I'll kill you. It's like you were gonna kill me anyway. You're an executioner.
To see
Brian has ascended. He is a god.
what's up.
They would say, oh, you think you're cute? Well, I think this bullet's also pretty cute. Pow!
In Brian's attic.
Or do we need to whip ourselves and cry?
Hey, Bobby, step up. Boom! Bobby's head falls on the floor.
You can really download it.
You can really download it.
You can really download it.
Hello,
Andrew?
world.
Yes, I'm Andrew.
What are we doing, Andrew?
He's wearing a very tight-fitting shirt today.
Where are we?
Looking super.
Oh, wait,
Hang on.
who's that? Are those our listeners? Why don't you tell them
Whoa,
hello,
all two
Andrew?
of them.
I know you can't see it, guys, but Andrew's shirtless right now.
Why? Welcome.
And he's going to be
Welcome to
doing
Brian's
ASMR.
Attic, the show where Brian thinks the world is a happy place and everyone can work together to solve problems. And Caleb and I mercilessly beat him down by refusing to agree on anything. I'm Andrew, and these with me are the aforementioned Caleb and Brian. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Squidward.
So, Squidward, I think you said you had a topic for us relating to movies. Could you talk more about that?
Yes, I wanted to talk about the perfect movie. What do you guys think makes a perfect movie? Andrew.
I was actually going to offer Caleb to go first, but sure, I'll go first. Personally, I'm not sure if I could ever adequately answer this question of what makes a perfect movie, but I do think that what would undoubtedly be a component of a good movie would be the timeliness of its message or of its story elements. So, for instance, there was a movie that was made in 1970. It was called Colossus, like the Forbin Project, named because one of the main character in the movie is a guy named Dr. Charles Forbin or something.
His name's not Colossus.
No, he's not. He's the lead scientist in this top secret government project to create a missile defense system that would be like autonomous. So it's like AI. And this was, of course, this is during the Cold War. And the idea was that in the case of, people who weren't able to be on standby and weren't able to correctly suss out whatever necessary procedures were needed to be implemented, this AI called Colossus would be able to defend the nation in the absence of any human presence. So they're able to successfully create the AI in a base that's like underneath a mountain.
Skynet.
And it's actually protected by like its own missile defense system, and it's basically impossible to notice from like overhead satellites. So because it's impossible to detect and it's like practically impregnable once it is detected, there's no danger of Colossus ever being dismantled or taken offline. So when they like announce that Colossus is online and they kind of like they kind of hook it up, the first message it ever sends is there is another machine. Oh, there's another. And so they realize that the Soviets have their own version of this. They've just completed also, but the Soviets one is called Guardian. And over the course of the movie, Colossus kind of makes it clear that that it is like planning to rule not just America, but the world. And it's doing this like in tandem with Guardian, and they kind of like merge at some point in the movie, and they become like the same entity practically. It even like orders the deaths of different like scientists and people who are trying to like stop Colossus and Guardian from ruling the world. And there's this really interesting point, and this is basically at the end of the movie. The last like lines are from Colossus to like this Forbin guy. And from Wikipedia, it says Colossus says, "In time, you will come to regard me not only with respect and awe, but with love. And I think that represents the whole film, really represented the fear that humans had of this kind of impersonal arbiter who was unaccountable, and yet everyone was accountable to it. I would definitely not put Colossus in the running for the perfect movie, but I definitely think that its themes were very timely during a time of what felt like extreme repression and totalitarianism, of expressing that theme through film and kind of warning us against that kind of idea of giving one person this indomitable political power, because that would inevitably transfer, that would carry over to other aspects of life. Oh, he's just here to defend us. Well, now he's in charge of us, and he's kind of calling all the shots, and if you disagree with him, he has you executed. So I definitely think that's a timely film and a timely theme, and I think timeliness of theme is an invaluable component of a film. To have a film that has a theme that,
That's interesting that you wouldn't say timelessness.
Well,
that's
yeah,
basically what I said, right? Timelessness?
No, you said timeliness.
Well,
which
timely
is applicable
theme,
to the time at which it was made.
Well, yeah, okay, how about this?
But
Applicable to every time.
It's applicable regardless
Well, yeah,
of the
I misused a word, but the point is
So
it's applicable.
you are saying it is timeless.
Yes,
it's a timeless
it's applicable
theme.
to every time.
Well,
That's what I thought.
I agree with
meant.
both. I agree with both ideas, though. Like, because if you have a film that's like basically you watch that film and then you're brought back to the era it was made in, just because
I didn't say
the
I didn't say
production.
time. I didn't say films that weren't timeless are bad. I just said they couldn't be in the running for perfect.
I think
Well,
I agree with that.
I believe I believe the emotions from the film have to be in kind of like the. I guess it could be representative of the time and take you back to the time it was made in, but it also, like you guys said, I would agree that the emotions have to be, and the way it makes you feel as a viewer have to basically transcend that. They have to go further than that. I would also argue that great films have to transcend their own genre a little bit, because there's a lot of Western films, but only a few of the Western films that were made are ones that still are considered to be the greats, and so you have to transcend the genre.
But you
you're
just
in.
described them as
Sci-fi is
So
a
yeah,
really broad
Caleb.
genre.
Caleb, what do you consider? Well, I'll phrase it kind of as what are the components of a perfect film? Like what for sure contributes? What do you think are the necessary components of a perfect film? And
Christopher Nolan as director.
It has to. Well,
what do you think? What is a movie that you consider a perfect film or comes close? Because I'm okay with the opinion that you don't think a perfect film could exist. It's
I
that
think Zulu. I already
unreachable
talked about it in the previous
ideal.
podcast. Because it had a goal to set out.
Zulu?
It was basically to show the horrors. Zulu. It was to show the horrors of war and basically how men can be valiant in the face of like ridiculous odds. And it set out to do that, and it did it. I think that films that try to be everything and wear too many hats are rarely successful. But oftentimes the best pieces of cinema are films that have a niche, and they fulfill that to the best of their ability. I think that
You just said that like the perfect movie would have to transcend genre. Now you're saying it has to like fill a niche
No, it transcends its own
while
genre.
filling its niche.
But yeah, so it's in a niche.
Pardon my confusion.
Right? So it's a Western film. It's a Western film, but it's also you could say like a film's a Western film, but it's also like the best of the Western films, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it doesn't try to not be a Western film. It doesn't try to be a Western sci-fi thriller.
Oh, you mean like Cowboys and
whatever
Aliens?
combo you want to throw. Yeah, like that'll be fun, but that won't be like phenomenal or great. It would take a very well-written script and a very good director in order to make those one of the best films. So it has to be.
So are you saying it
within the
has to be
genre.
like the epitome of its genre, but it has to appeal to a wider audience than just the genre that it fills?
No, because I feel like whenever you try to appeal to too broad of an audience, then the film's not great.
I figure that's probably what you meant by transcending its genre.
No, I mean it's not about the overall appeal. I would say
But what does
because
transcending
Marvel
its
films
genre
are appealing, but they're not the best. It means being the best of your genre. It doesn't mean that most people who are invested in your genre are going to like
To
it.
transcend
you know?
means to go above something. The idea of transcending for a human would be to become something that's more than human, and so thus is not human any longer. To
See, I actually
apply
thought-
to films, at least in terms of genre, it would mean you couldn't place it in a genre if you say it transcends.
I
a
thought
genre.
that statement transcending genre was actually pretty insightful with Andrew's definition there. Just because it's good for its genre, you know, like say Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is
That's as close as you can
it
get to a
is an
perfect film.
adventure movie, but it's such a good adventure movie. It does what it is supposed to do so well that it has features that can appeal to people that don't care for adventure movies.
I guess what I was trying to say, though,
And
just
thus
like so I can
transcending its
clarify,
genre is how I understood it.
the thing is, it can't do that on, like, for example, like a Marvel film like Shang-Chi. It tries to appeal to the lowest common denominator. So there's a way you can be appealing to everybody without setting out to appeal to everybody, and that's what I was trying to say.
Right.
You know.
You're not going to be the best historical biography by also trying to appeal to the superhero crowd. Though I could see how that could cross over a little bit. So my definition, which is about as generic as you can get, was in 3 words. I would say a perfect movie is a movie that has congruency of purpose, and by that I mean the story, acting, editing, cinematography, music, sound design, which is different from music, setting, costumes, and set design, and whatever else is involved in making a movie.
Tenet had all of that except the sound design.
All
just kidding.
adequately,
I just,
and adequately here is sufficiently, not to its nth degree, adequately contribute to the vision of the film. So a film is made with a specific purpose. So
would you say that's an extension of the director, what he wants the vision to be, or just everybody?
I think there is value to authorial intent. So now, unfortunately, I've got 4 movies that came to mind. It's kind of weird that because they are very wide-ranging films. Yes, I'm cheating by choosing 4. These were the first 4 that came to mind. I think the one that might come closest is It's a Wonderful Life.
No, that's a phenomenal.
Oddly enough, I don't remember any music from that film. So the point being that it doesn't necessarily have to be perfection in every one of those instances. Because, like I said, I don't mind. I don't mind saying there is no such thing as a perfect film. The perfect film that has this congruency of purpose that I'm talking about is an endless ideal that every movie is pressing toward. Well, I would not say that every movie is pressing towards it, because some specifically focus on certain things. You could say that some movies intentionally neglect some of these features, and so as a result of that, it's contributing. Like No Country for Old Men has no music, but that's an intentional choice not to have music. So you could still say that the music, quote unquote, is contributing to the vision of the film in the way that it's intended. Other movies I've got on my short list here are Emperor's New Groove,
Dark Knight. I agree.
Groundhog
with that.
Day, and The Dark Knight.
I knew The Dark Knight was going to be on there. It's like
It's arguably the most perfect Christopher Nolan film. It's certainly the one that I hear people complain about the least. Oh, I forgot The Prestige could maybe be up there. I don't remember the music much from that though.
That made me think like
Inception almost made the list.
I guess my question would be, can a film be the perfect popcorn film, right?
Like one
is there
that's
such
not a
thing,
perfect
right?
film, but you love watching it anyway?
No, but I mean like the quintessential popcorn film.
I don't know what that
Like
means.
there's movies that basically a film that causes pure enjoyment. Oh, I have a film I completely forgot about. Mad Max Fury Road.
Like
movie.
Shawshank Redemption could be the perfect film,
Shawshank
but you're not
Redemption would be one.
You're not gonna eat popcorn for it. It's not your pure enjoyment film.
Andrew, I know you're skeptical of it, but Mad Max Fury Road meets your definition. There was a unity of vision. Everything. That
wasn't my definition.
The way the movie was shot. I know, but I'm saying according to Brian's definition, I would put Mad Max Fury Road in that category because the way it was shot,
not seen Mad Max,
the way it was filmed.
Fury Road.
Well, we
It's
need to
on my
watch that
list.
film. I've watched it like
I know my cousin.
I would say
loves that. Like continues. He keeps renting it over and over again, and he's like, I just need to buy it at some point.
I bought it. It's like, to me, that is the best action film. I've ever seen in my life, and I think that
What, Transformers isn't? What?
Revenge of the Fallen, yeah, great film.
The Transformers
third
2.
one,
I think that's the second one.
Or two. With the pyramids, yeah, great film. Shia LaBeouf. No, but let me explain. Mad Max Fury Road. The action is well thought out. It's not just like, you know, jump cuts. It's like they linger on the vehicular manslaughter and brutality of it. The world is well established. The script.
Tom Hardy's face is covered.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. There's the script. There's not much dialogue, but that's the purpose. It was, like you said, leaving things out. It was intentionally not meant to be a film that focuses on that aspect. It's a wasteland. Like, what are people going to talk about besides surviving? You know, and basically, we need to get more fuel to make it to this next location. The sound editing is amazing.
There's something appealing to the idea of, you know, a simplicity of vision. You know, say, well, I was going to say, The Last Jedi is a simplicity of vision in the fact that the basic premise is that it's a very slow car chase. But I would not say it's a perfect, like the idea that the entire movie, well, okay, aside from Canto Bight, but the entire movie takes place over the course of this, like, short interval of time. You know, it's not your James Bond where they're traveling all over the place and...
Yeah. It's not a globe-trotting film.
Right.
I was gonna say too, like they basically have the Fury Road does the idea of like basically like the silent hero or the Mad Max films in general, like the silent
I recall the Mel
who...
Gibson one because I did watch that one. It starts out with him not really talking much. The one I watched was the Thunderdome one.
Oh wow, I've never seen 3. I've only seen 1, 2,
I think
and
the
then
third
Fury
one might
Road.
be the only one I've watched. I'm not. It might have been the only one available.
But I guess
I don't know.
I guess I would say Shawshank Redemption would be on my list as well. That was the only movie that I've ever like.
Not a popcorn film, I don't think.
No, not for popcorn film. I'm talking about like
it
best
was
movies,
very good.
I would say closest. Like I got extremely emotional when I was watching it, and it takes a lot for me to like get emotional watching films. Like I don't think that a film, in order for a film to be amazing, it has to bring you to the emotion of like weeping. But
It's a Wonderful Life does that.
For example, like. But I do think it has to, that brings the point, I do think that if you're talking about the perfect film, it has to evoke some sort of emotion. Like, there was points when I was watching Mad Max Fury Road where I was just like...
The guy
like,
with the flaming guitar in the front of the truck.
No, but like, I was super excited and like on the edge of my seat to see what happened next. Like, to
the emotion of excitement,
you know,
and intrigue.
Of excitement, you know, whereas Shawshank Redemption, it was like very contemplative, and I got more emotional because of the somber, you know, happy ending, melancholy ending of the end of the film.
Of course, there's some honorable mentions as far as perfect films go. I know a lot of people would consider Blade Runner 2049, Saving Private Ryan.
Blade Runner 2049.
Some of these movies are some movies that would be considered perfect films. I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049. I've seen Saving Private Ryan, but it was a while ago, and I mean, it's definitely up there as far as war films go.
Oh, I have another one.
It was really good, but I don't watch a lot of war films.
1915.
1917.
I wouldn't say Hacksaw Ridge was the best war film I've ever seen, but it was up there as far as war films are concerned.
All right.
That I have seen.
Let's see if we can do this in about 5 minutes. That might be plenty of time. I don't know. What, if you had to choose, what would be your favorite film? And that's a different question from... Well, that was easy for Caleb.
Sorry. I can watch it repeatedly.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Either that or, and as far as my personal favorite, I guess my guilty pleasure would be the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which I know is not like highbrow whatsoever, but it's enjoyable. I can pop it on and I have guaranteed enjoyment for the runtime. Like if you're talking about an ensemble superhero film, I think that's the best ensemble superhero film that's ever been done, personally, in my opinion. So... Because you don't know any of the characters at the beginning of the film, and by the end of the film, you're attached to them. You know, the Avengers films, the characters are already established, and yeah, I don't care about them nearly as much as you may, or what I can't differentiate between why I care about them. Is it because I saw them in the previous films, or is it because the script was so well put together in the current film? Whereas with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's undeniable that the script was strong because I actually felt emotions at the end of the film. So those would be my two: Mad Max Fury Road and Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm inclined to say The Dark
My two
Knight.
favorites.
Part of me wants to say Inception because I love all of the ideas of Inception. I've mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys, but Inception I consider live action anime done well, where it has a lot of this exposition of complex ideas, complex, like they're adequately complex, I guess. There's a lot of expository dialogue, which is a very anime thing. But I find it does that pretty well. Of course, that's a Christopher Nolan thing. There's a lot of expository dialogue, which I kind of like the philosophizing bit. I love the dialogue, I guess, in Interstellar between Matthew McConaughey's character and Anne Hathaway about love and how it's like love transcends time and space. You love people who are dead. You love people who are not in the room with you. And it's kind of a cool concept because what they're trying to do is they're trying to solve the problem of gravity to save humanity on Earth. And gravity is that fifth dimension beyond time. It affects time, and I think it affects space. At least the wormhole they travel through, which is kind of a gravitational anomaly, affects space.
The original ending of that film was supposed to be they can't locate the answer and everybody dies, like if I remember reading that correctly. But then that was scrapped very early in production because they thought it was too dark.
A movie is okay. A part of me almost chose Interstellar as a perfect movie because I think it fit Christopher Nolan's vision very well. A lot of people complain about the grandfather paradox, but I feel like the grandfather paradox is part of it. That there is I explained this a number of times elsewhere to other people, but I haven't mentioned it on the podcast, I don't believe. So Christopher Nolan, one of his favorite movies is 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is a weird movie. But one of the reasons he likes it is because it is an experience, number one. And that he thinks that the best age to first see the movie is around like 10 and 11, which was the age that he first saw the movie. Because in that movie, he was, when he first saw it, engrossed in the visual element, fascinated by what he was watching, but not of the like intellectual level to really think about it too hard. And so it was just purely an experience. He wasn't trying to make sense of all the little details in the movie. And so I think Interstellar, being his first space movie, and has very many similar shots to 2001: A Space Odyssey in how the camera is like attached to the ship as it flies through space, that some of it is an homage of sorts to 2001: A Space Odyssey, and how that nonsensical grandfather paradox is part of the vision. And so I don't think it should count against the valuation of the movie as a perfect movie. It just does a lot of things right for me.
I'm curious what is
Andrew's favorite movie?
Film.
He's the one that we've not.
Favorite film.
I guess it would probably be a toss-up between Lord of the Rings trilogy or Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. The first three. The other Pirates of the Caribbean films don't get included.
I would say just the first one, maybe the second one. The second one ends with a cliffhanger, and so it's hard to say that should.
To me,
again, we're talking about your favorite. Not
you can either put Black Pearl, which is the first one by itself, or you can say and you can say 2 and 3 together, but you can't say just 2 or just 3. Like that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Those are intended to be a shared viewing experience.
If Dead Man's Chest had a more defined ending instead of ending on a cliffhanger, if it was more self-contained, that's it.
Black Pearl is amazing.
Yes, Black Pearl is legitimately a great movie. But I would probably have to give it to Lord of the Rings.
I almost put Lord of the Rings on my list of perfect movies. The first one especially. That's one where the music.
The first in the Hobbit trilogy, Battle of the Five Armies.
Wasn't that the last one?
That is the last one.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, of the Hobbit movies,
journey.
The first one, I was actually kind of impressed by. The fact that they included any songs at all from the book, aside from the Far Over the Misty Mountains, that one's kind of a given. It was in the trailer and whatnot. But any of the others, surprised me. But then
That's a good choice, though, Andrew.
Desolation of Smog.
I like your choices.
Yuck.
Yeah, you just don't. Yeah, there's a lot of problems. We could have a whole podcast dedicated to poking holes in the Hobbit
Well,
trilogy.
it's my
Legolas
intention
defying
to
gravity.
watch the Hobbit movies with Andrew because he hasn't seen them yet, and I do.
I kind of want to watch Fury Road with both of you because I know Andrew's very
Yeah,
skeptical of it.
I would
because he
totally
doesn't
watch
like
it.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't like Furiosa. That's his.
I don't remember
Even
that being
though-
my problem, actually.
because
Even though Mad Max films, the whole people were like they didn't like the fact that Furiosa was basically like some people were like would like she's the main character. It's like Max in every Mad Max film is like the background character to his own story to a certain extent. The film is more about the action.
Definitely not the case in the first
isn't it
film.
one of the a stranger rides into town, upsets the status quo?
Yes,
and then
it
leaves.
changes. But Max is no. In the first film, you follow Max, but the film's not about him. It's about him fighting the gang.
Then it's about him. It's about him getting revenge.
Well, I guess
It's about Mad
you could
Max's
say-
personal fight against his gang for revenge, but it's not about him. Don't worry. Don't make the mistake of thinking it's about
You
the
can argue
character.
the first film is. Yeah, but
And
if you're
that's
talking
what I
about the
just said. I
Thunderdome-
said the first film.
But even so,
Hold that.
I don't know, it's
Hold
more
that
about
L.
the world. It's the world falling apart. And basically, a man's struggle to survive with the changing world. So,
Caleb cannot admit he made an incorrect point. Shame.
I didn't make an incorrect point.
But yeah,
That's
I
exactly
actually
what I'm
do
talking
want to
about.
have. Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
But we have to have a Fury Road watch party.
Well, I want to watch The
even
Hobbit
though-
because I actually want to
because
have an
Andrew
episode.
won't be able to poke holes in it because you can't poke holes in perfection.
I actually
We
want to
can
have an
make
episode on the
plans
Hobbit
for this
trilogy.
later. Let's move on.
Believe it or not. Thanks
you
for
say?
watching. Or, wait, not watching.
Nah, thanks for
tuning in to Brian's Attic.
Thanks for tuning in because you are listening to this on a radio. Join us next time to see what's up in Brian's Attic.
No, we're not seeing what's up. We're going to listen to what's up.
Well, yes, I know, but you don't
Ha ha.
listen up. You don't listen to what's up.
Find out what's up. How about that?
Well, find out what's up. Discover
Find out what's in your
Or
attic next
meta-
week.
as a metaphor. See what's up.
Capital Attic. What's in your attic?
Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode of Brian's Attic. And of course, a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you would like to support Brian's Attic, head over to patreon.com/Brian's Attic or use the link in the description.